Okay, in this tutorial I'm going to show you how you can make this storyboards using Photoshop. Current version that we're using at the moment is Photoshop CS6. However, throughout the different versions there's not many different things, just a few slight tweaks to the interface. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to press Ctrl and N for new documents. Now we can see in front of us that we've got a few options. We can name it there. We've got presets, which is web, photo, paper, all different ones. I never use these, I just myself always put in my own dimensions. Okay, now with anything to do with internet related, we always work in pixels as a unit of measurement. And what we're going to do is we're going to assume that our website is going to have a width of 1000 pixels and a height, we don't really know yet because we haven't got any content in it. However, what we do is we always make our document slightly bigger than 1000, so I'm going to put a width of 1200 pixels, and to give us space to work with in room so we can see what we're doing, I'm going to give it a height of 1000 pixels. We can see here where it says resolution, I always work in pixels per inch. Okay, now you can see that 72 is the default. When we do anything for web design, 72 is the resolution that we always work in. A few reasons for this being is to do with the operating systems, especially Apple Macs. Okay, anything over the internet will only get displayed on a Mac at a resolution of 72 dpi. Monitors themselves are actually capable of HD, which is a lot higher, but we don't bother increasing this size because all it'll do is increase the file size, but there'll be no visual impact due to the operating system. You may find on the internet that you see resolutions also over 96 dpi. That's to do with Windows operating systems that are able to cope with high resolution. So anyway, what we're going to do is keep the file size low because this is still a little practice run. I'm going to keep it on 72. Once you've done that, I always make my background colour transparent. That's just a personal preference. Once you've done that, click on OK. And we can see there now that there's our screen. That's what our web page is going to be. You can see that it's got a checker background. That just shows that it's a transparent layer. Down the left hand side here, you can see these are all different options that we've got. Top one, for example, is the move tool. We've got selection tool, we've got lasso tool, etc, 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 etc. On the right hand side, it's very important, we've got our layers. If it's collapsed like this, double click on it and it'll just expand. We can see across the bottom, if we select a layer, we've got delete. At the moment it won't let us do that because we've only got one layer inside our document. We've got create new layer, which is the little piece of paper with the upturned edge. New folder. This is a fill and adjustment, layer mask and special effects, layer styles. Okay, now what we first do is we need to start organising our page to do with what's going with. Now what we're going to do is we're going to use a very standardised general layout that consists of a header, links, text and footer. Okay, so first thing what I need to do is I need to go to view and I need to show grid possibly. I'm going to go to rulers. Okay, now we can see it at the moment this unit of measurement really doesn't mean anything to us because we're dealing with pixels. So what we need to do is go to edit, preferences, and you can see we've got units and rulers. We click on that. What we need to do, change our rulers to pixels. If we click on OK, you can see now it's come up as pixels. It's something that we can work with, makes it a little bit easier for us. What we need to do is we need to find out where the middle of this document is so we can measure it out perfectly 1000 pixels from the center, which is the size of our web page. So what I'm going to do, making sure I've got the move tool selected, so I'm going to hover over the top left hand corner, I'm going to click hold, and what I want to do is go to 600. The reason why I'm going to 600 is because our document is a total of 1200 in width, and I'm going to make sure that the horizontal stays on 0. When I let go, you can see that we've now working from the center of no pixels. So what I need to do is I need to measure 500 and 500, which will give us a nice equal 1000 pixels. So I click and hold from one of the rulers, I go across to 500 and let go. I'm going to do it again on the other side and let go. Now we can't really see these lines because they're not the right colour. If we need to change them, we go back to edit, preferences, and this time we're going to do guides, and you can see we can change the colour. I'm going to change mine to red. Okay, slightly better. We can switch off the grid if we need to. You can see it even more. Okay, now I need to make space for my header. I'm going to give my header a height of say 180 pixels. So to make it easier, because you can see we can't work out in this grid 10, 10, 10. It's a little bit hard, so I'm going to use the magnifying glass, which is down here. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to zoom in. Now you can see the more I zoom in, the more we can see the units of measurements. Okay, I'm going to select move tool again. I'm going to click and I'm going to hold on the top this time, drag it down to 1800. I need to zoom back out now. Magnifying glass, hold out, click back out. Okay, my links, I'm going to give them a height of 70 pixels. So I measure down to 250. There's where my links are going to go. My footer, I'm going to give it a height of say 200. I'm going to drag it down. Now looking at that doesn't look like good proportion to it, so I'm going to change the amount. I'm going to say 900 like so. Okay, now them guides they're the rulers that I can work from when I'm organising my page. Now this main content in the middle, we can see that we've got nice plenty space to work with. I'm going to add a little bit more to this, and I want 2 div tags either side of each other, one being text and one being images. So again, horizontal, I'm going to come across and mark out 0. So that's my working space. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a very simple header. So inside this layer tool, you can see when I click, it highlights it. If I click outside it deselects it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a group folder. I'm going to press Ctrl and G. I'm going to double click where it says group 1, and I'm going to call this header. So all the content for my header is going to go inside this folder. So first thing I'm going to do is I want to give it a background. So I'm going to select the shape. If I click and hold, you can see it gives me more options. I want a rectangle tool, and across the top you can see here it says fill. We click on fill, and I'm going to pick, I don't know, maybe this purple colour. Once you're happy with it, I'm going to click, I'm going to drag it out, and you can see it's filled in. Now what's worth noting is it's created its own layer. Any tools from this fountain pen down to this rectangle shape tool are known as vector images. And what the computer will do, it will automatically generate a new layer for that type of tool. These are the only tools inside Photoshop that will do that for. The rest of them you must, when you want to do something individual, separate from the content on the page, you must create a new layer. To do that, we can click on that little upturned piece of paper. Okay, anyway, let's move on. So what I need to do now is I need to add some writing to this nice purpley pink header. So I'm going to click on the T, which is text tool, and what I'm going to do is I just want you to realise what happens to the top here. You can see we've got font type, we've got size, we've got chart, we've got alignment. If you notice when I click on different tools, that actually changes. That's the properties for whatever we're working with at that point in time. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click and drag the space out. The reason why I'm doing it outside of this box is because I want this text layer to be separate from the rectangle. By default, what Photoshop's going to try and do is attach the writing to the rectangle. I don't want this to happen. anyway. Okay, and inside it I'm going to click a larger font size. I can change this later on, doesn't really matter. I'm going to say my first website. Okay, if I highlight this writing, I can change the font. Okay, when you're happy with it, click on the tick. If you're not happy with it, click on this little stop sign. But I'm happy, we'll click on tick. Now, you need to be careful in Photoshop. Every time we want to do something, like move something, we always have to select the tool itself, and I can move it up. Now, looking at that, I'm happy with the colour or the font. For me to be able to edit that text layer, I need to double click inside this T. What I can do now is I can change the font and I can change the colour. My first website, happy days. Okay, now this white on top of that purple, you can't really read it properly. We need something to make it stand out. So I'm going to use an option that's called blending tools that allows you to do loads and loads of different things with a picture or a layer. So I'm going to right click on the layer itself and go to blending options. Now what this does is it allows me to change and add effects to the layer itself. What you'll notice is if I click on the writing itself, it's got all the different options. If I just simply click it, I haven't got any more control over what it does. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the writing stroke itself, and you can see I can say outside stroke, inside stroke, center stroke, how big it is, how opaque it is, what colour it is. Okay, I'm going to stick with black. I'm going to say 1 pixel on the outside. You can see we've got lots of different tools here. We can have a drop shadow so it looks like it's coming off the page. All different things is for you to play about with yourself. So you can see here now that attached to this layer I've got FX and it says effect, stroke and drop shadow. I'm just going to hide that by clicking on this little arrow. Okay, now I'll leave that there. I'm happy with that. Maybe I'm going to add, I don't know, a bit of a gradient or an effect to it. So I'm going to click on new layer, and this time I'm going to select the paintbrush. I want paintbrush there. I'm going to click on this little option, drag it out. Now these are the defaults of presets inside. There's a lot more inside the computer that we can use. So if we click on the little cog, we can see we've got all different ones. I'm going to set, and I'm going to pick with it random special effects brushes. I'm going to append it. Now you can see it's given us more. Now I'm going to click on that. We can see we've got size up here. I'm going to make it nice and big. If I scroll left the screen, that's how big it is, not that big. If I go off again, you can see it's massive. If I'm not happy with it, press Ctrl Z, which is undo one step. Go back. I'll probably pick maybe 1000. Now it's a special effects brush, so the more you click it, the more it does stuff. Now you can see this has gone over. It doesn't matter, don't worry about it. The only thing I don't like is the colour. So you can see down here I've got the colour picker. I click on this, I don't know, maybe red. You can see it's changed the colour again. Now the issue we've got right now, which is going on top of my writing, the way that Photoshop works is it works with layers. Each one of these is independent from each other. What you'll notice is, well, this layer 2, which is the one with the flowers on it, is on top of everything else, which means that it's going to cover everything else. If I move this down by clicking and holding, dragging down, and you can see the way the line changes. If I let go, it's underneath my writing. It's a little bit too busy, so what I'm going to do, if I click on opacity, I turn the opacity down, you can see it's making it slightly more see-through. I'm happy with that. You can see it's overlapped there, but we don't need to worry about it because we can build upon layer upon layer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to collapse this folder by clicking on this little header arrow. I'm going to press Ctrl G, or you can click on create a new group like that, and I'm going to call this links. Now what I'm going to do, make a new layer, making sure I've got links selected. If I click on new layer, it's automatically inside that group. On this layer, what I'm going to do, same as before, rectangle, I'm going to give it a fill. This time I'm going to make it like grey, and I'm going to click, I'm going to drag, and you'll notice that it's staying nicely inside my line. The reason why I do it in Photoshop like this, or I do it in Photoshop like this, is I can see how the colours are interacting with each other. Right now you can see that that grey colour doesn't work with the other. So if I want to change the colour, all I've got to do is click in the fill, and you see it's automatically updating. I think when it got weird, possibly that colour. Okay, once you're happy with it, you can click outside and it comes up. Now same as before, text layer. Now you need to be careful because this colour there is red, so it's automatically going to make text red as well. Okay, so I'm going to click a different colour, I want black. Click on OK, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag out the text box like that. Now don't forget, these red lines show where the outside of our website or the edges of our website are going to finish, so we want our text to be inside there. So what I can do, I can move it across, and I can move this across. It's important that we keep everything in line now, so it makes it a lot easier when we go to import this into a website. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click inside it, and I'm going to type home, about, contact, and maybe gallery. Okay, now that writing's far too big, so if I highlight it, 48, I'm happy with 38. I'm going to highlight the writing, I'm just going to type over it 43, like so. Not bad, maybe change the font. I'm going to make it crisp. Not much changes with them, it depends on the font itself. Now my writing, I need to move it a little bit out the way. I'm going to move it down. I still think it's too big. If I double click on the C around here, I'm going to say 34. I'm happy with that. Click on OK. Now remember, this is just a rough idea of what we're doing, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so that's my links done. Collapse the folder. I'm going to make a new group, and this time I'm going to call it main. It's going to be my main body. Now this time what I want to do is I want to work with a gradient. So we can see this tool here. If I click and hold on it, it's either going to be a paint bucket or it's going to be a gradient tool. I'm going to select gradient tool. Now the way it works is it will select the colours that you've got a new colour picker already. So I'm going to use a nice light neutral colour. I'm going to use slightly off white. And the background colour for pick on it, I'm going to use slightly off yellow. Now there doesn't look like much variation on this at the moment, but it's we're just playing about with it. Okay, so new layer again. You can see it's inside my main, and this time making sure I've got the one I want selected up here. This very first one is going to be a combination of our foreground and background colours. These are just presets inside it. We've got different types of gradients: horizontal, bulb or radial, angle, reflected and diamond. I just want linear. Okay, horizontal. If I click, drag, you can see it does that. If I do small, you can see the way it's making slightly different changes. It's up to you to play about with and explore with it. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the layer order so this is underneath everything, and you can see our website's already coming together. I'm using very pale washed out colours. If they're too vivid, it's too hard on the eyes. Okay, I can hide that, so I don't know what's going to go inside my main just yet. I'm going to click on a new folder, new group, and I'm going to call it footer. going to click on new documents again. Make sure I'm working on the folder. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to select maybe rounded rectangle, and I want it to be the same colour as this, so I use the colour dropper. Click, and what I'm going to do is going to make one slightly darker than it. I'm going to click, I'm going to drag, let go. I'm looking at that, I'm not happy with the colour, so I'm going to change the fill. I click on OK. I think that's much better. Now again, what I need to do, or want to do, is I want to add a bit of a design using my paint tool. I'm going to click on the paintbrush. I'm going to click on here up here. And this time I'm going to pick a rose. Now you can see at the moment it's crossed out. You should realise it's crossed out because I've got no lasers on them. So making sure I've selected the footer folder. I'm going to click on new layer, and it's going to let me do it now. And if I go like that, white bleached out, I click a few times, you can see it's all different colours. Now I've botched that up, really not happy with it. What I need to do is I need to step back using the history. So to do that, I'm going to click on window, and I'm going to make sure that history is ticked, and these are the last 20 odd steps that I've done. I click on the bin and delete, step back to my mistakes. Okay, so I'm going to do one there, I'm going to do one there, and I'm happy with that. To do text, same as before, text, so I'm going to drag a new text box. I'm going to type in it again. Remember, make sure we pick a colour that we can see properly. Do home, about, contact, gallery, and also what you put in there is any copyright notice, so designed by me. Okay, now that is how you can do the basic design and basic layout. If you want to start importing images from other documents, you can go to Google Images, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to pick, I don't know, within my theme is I'm going to do flowers. Wait for it to load up, and when it loads up, all I need to do, click on a picture I want to use. Now when you do your projects, don't do this because it'll be copyrighted, but for an example, I'm going to go to copy image, I'm going to go back to Photoshop, and I'm going to go to edit, and paste hasn't worked. Okay, the reason why it doesn't work because I'm already interacting with the layer, so I need to click on the tick. Now if I paste it this time using Control V or edit and paste, you can see that the picture's there, but it's massive. Okay, I need to change the size where I use a button called Control and T. Now you can see it's got a wireframe box now. If I make it smaller, move it across, make it smaller, you can see it's out of proportion. So make something exactly resized, I can use these percentages up here. Width is how much the width is, and height is how much the height is. So if I put 30 in each one, the constraints are perfect. Use the move tool, move it round, maybe like that. Okay. Now the problem with this, as you can see, is it's underneath the other layers. All I need to do is collapse my footer, move it up, and it's on top of it. Okay. Now the reason why that's moving like that is because I have to put a folder inside the folder. So if I do layer order, footer, okay, that's better. You can see there now, look. Okay, I've made a mistake. I need you to tell me what I've done.